Okay, here we go into chapter 6. Now, the title of this chapter is Giving to the Poor and Prayer. Very important information in this chapter, just like every chapter. So here we go. Beware of practicing your righteousness before men to be noticed by them. Otherwise, you have no reward with your Father who is in heaven. So when you give to the poor, don't sound a trumpet before you as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, so that they may be honored by men. Truly I say to you, they have their reward in full. But when you give to the poor, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving will be in secret, and your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. A lot of people, when they give something to charity or on the street or whatever the case may be, they make it known that they're giving that gift. They're making it known because they want people to revere them. They want people to be like, oh, look at them. They're so awesome. They're so generous and all those kinds of things. God doesn't like that. He's telling you that right now. If you're going to give to somebody, don't even let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. In other words, just give. Don't be like counting and be like, oh, okay, how much can I know? If you got it in your pocket and somebody's asking you for something, just give it to them. Just give it to them. We have to remember that money is the least important thing in our existence. So give to the poor, don't make it known, keep it in secret. The more secret you keep things, the more your reward will be, like he says, okay? When you pray, you are not to be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and on the street corners, so that they may be seen by men. Truly I say to you, they have their reward in full. And what he means when he says that is that, just like the giving, these people are only doing it so that they could be noticed and revered by other people. So when other people actually do revere them, oh, you're so generous, you just gave that person $10. Oh, look at him, he's always praying in the streets, that guy, he's a man of God. That's the reward they're getting. That's what they're living for, that's what they're doing it for, and that's what they're getting. That's their reward. They got their reward in full. They're not going to get anything from the Father. They're just doing it for that. So that's why he's telling them they got their reward in full. But you, being a disciple and a follower of Yeshua, but you, when you pray, go into your inner room, close your door, and pray to your Father who is in secret. And your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. And when you're praying, don't use meaningless repetition like the Gentiles do, for they suppose that they will be heard for their many words. So don't be like them. In other words, he doesn't want you to sit here and just babble on, babble. Remember, the Almighty sees into your heart. He already knows, he sees, he understands everything you think, say, and do. So when you pray to him, get to the point. Don't waste time. Don't beat around the bush. It's important. He's an important being. We don't want to waste his time, right? Okay. And then he gives us instruction on how to pray. So he presents to us what is known as the Lord's Prayer, but I don't use the word Lord. That's another word that was used to basically replace Messiah, Master. There's a whole list of words that were thrown into all of these Bibles that replace the original words, and I try not to use them, Lord being one of them. So this is our Master's Prayer. Our Father who is in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. For if you forgive others for their transgressions, your heavenly Father will forgive you. But if you do not forgive others, then your Father will not forgive you. And that's what this is all about, right? It's all about doing the right thing. Pray the right way, give the right way, and you will be rewarded. Continuing on in chapter 6, fasting, the true treasure and wealth. Whenever you fast, do not put on a gloomy face as the hypocrites do, for they neglect their appearance so that they will be noticed by men that they are fasting. And truly I say to you, they have their reward in full. So just like the prayer, just like the giving, you have people who fasting, and they want people to know they're fasting. So they'll go around all day just kind of grumbling and acting weak and making themselves look like, oh, like they're troubled, because they want people to come up to them and be like, hey, what's wrong with you? Oh, nothing. No, but you really don't look well. Oh, it's because I'm fasting. You know what I mean? God doesn't want that. Okay? So what he says is, but you being a disciple of his, when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, so that your fasting will not be noticed by men, but by your Father who is in heaven, who is in secret, and your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. Once again, so when you fast, being a disciple, a follower of his, don't let anybody know. Keep it a secret. This is something that's just between you and the Almighty, just like prayer is. Just between you and the Almighty. No one else needs to be involved. Nobody else needs to see, understand. Get it? Okay? So do it in secret. Keep yourself looking good, smelling good, looking fresh and clean. Nobody knows what's going on, just you and God. That's what he wants. All right? Also, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves cannot break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there also your heart will be. So in other words, the physical world. Now there's a lot to this physical world. We're talking clothes, cars, motorcycles, shoes, pants. I mean, people collect the weirdest stuff, don't they? You know, they spend their paychecks just on the weirdest things. You know, you have to have your house pimped out. You have to have your car pimped out. You got to have the right wheels, the right rims, the right stereo. You got to be wearing the Jordans. You got all this stuff. You got to wear the right hat. Nah. You see, that's what God's talking about. That's not what he wants at all. So remember, he's talking about material things, all right? We don't want to make material things a priority. It's always the Almighty who's the priority, the will of the Almighty. That's the priority, okay? Now, you got to prioritize your soul instead of your house. Prioritize your spirit and its well-being instead of your car, right? You got to care about your deeds instead of just caring about the clothes that you wear. We clear? Good. All right, so here we go. The eye is the lamp of the body. So then, if your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. Now, you've heard people say that, you know, the mirror to the soul is through the eyes and all those kinds of things. Well, he's kind of telling you the same thing here. Now, if you are full of light, if your eye is clear, if you're focused, you're walking the path, you're doing all the things that he wants you to do, your eye will be full of light, his light. It'll be evident within you. That's what he's saying. But if your eye is bad, then your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth. So going back a little bit, if your eye is bad, then basically you're filled with darkness. How great is that darkness? So in other words, if you're not focused, or you're just focused on the wrong things, then your eye will be filled with that darkness. And if it's enough to where it can be seen through your eyes, how great is that darkness, right? So it's evident how you portray yourself or the things that you're following with how you look. The cure for anxiety. For this reason I say to you, do not be worried about your life, as to what you will eat or what you will drink, nor for your body, as to what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and is not the body worth more than clothing? Now that's pretty evident what he's trying to say there. Once again, we're going back to material things. We don't need them. Don't prioritize them. Don't even worry about it, right? Isn't your life worth more than just your next meal or your next jacket or shirt or pair of shoes, right? He's trying to remind us what is truly important in life, okay? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow,
Nor do they reap or gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not worth much more than birds? And that's a perfect example. I remember when I first read that over 25 years ago, it really put a lot of things into perspective for me, especially when it came to material things and the things that I should be striving for in life. You look at the birds, how amazing they are. They don't have jobs, they don't have money, they don't have homes, none of those kinds of things. They don't worry about that kind of stuff. But they still are taken care of and clothed, right? Because the Almighty takes care of them. Are not human beings worth more than birds? And that's what he's trying to tell us right there. Okay? And who of you, being worried, can add a single hour to your life? That's just saying again, what does worrying do? It doesn't do anything for you. It won't add to your life or anything. And why are you worried about clothing? Observe the lilies of how the lilies of the field grow. They do not toil, nor do they spin. Yet I say to you that not even Solomon in all of his glory clothed himself like one of these. So the lilies of the field, some of the most beautiful flowers out there. They don't reap, they don't toil, they don't sow, they don't do anything, but the Almighty dresses them. Not even King Solomon, here's the example, in his time of glory, had such fine clothing as the lilies of the field. So in other words, will not God clothe you too? Right? Okay. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which is alive today and tomorrow is thrown into the furnace, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? Once again, challenging your faith. Do not worry then, saying, what will we eat, or what will we drink, or what clothing will we wear? For the Gentiles eagerly seek all these things. For your heavenly Father knows that you need all these things, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and then all these things will be added to you. Okay? So do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will care for itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. So, don't worry about it. Every day we're supposed to be living in faith. And that's not just with one thing or another thing, that's with everything. You put charge. He's telling you, if you put him first and you seek his kingdom and his righteousness first, he knows all the things that you need. He will add those to you. But you have to seek him first. That's the way it goes.